Hello and welcome to Football Daily, where today we bring you a team made up of the worst players from this season's Champions League. Let's jump right in. Goalkeeper, Lee Grant. This is cheating a bit, as with Sergio Romero and David De Gea in front of him, Lee Grant is unlikely to see action during Man United's Champions League campaign. However, any time a club of United's size and resources decide they need to bring in Stoke City's third-choice goalkeeper, it deserves attention, especially as Grant didn't even move on a free, costing the Red Devils £1.5 million. If Grant appears for United during the 18-19 Premier League season, he will be one of just 7 players aged 35 or over to have got on the field this year. But despite his age, the Englishman has spent only 2 terms in the top flight. In 16-17, Grant deputised for Jack Butland at Stoke, somehow winning the club's Player of the Year award as the Potters put together the 9th worst defensive record in the division. The following year he played only 3 games and was relegated, failing to displace Butland despite Stoke allowing nearly 2 goals a match. Now sitting on the bench at the Theatre of Dreams, Grant has to go down as one of Jose Mourinho's weirdest moves in a chaotic reign as United boss. Defender, Trent Sainsbury. Eredivisie defenders are rarely known for their quality, and Trent Sainsbury, currently turning out for PSV Eindhoven, is no exception. The Australian broke into the A-League at 18 with the Central Coast Mariners, going on to win a title before taking his first trip to the Netherlands with PEC Zwolle, a traditional path for Aussies coming to Europe from Brad Jones to Brett Emerton. Given a starting berth from day one, Sainsbury suffered a freak injury on his debut when he fell on one of the sprinklers embedded in the turf on Utrecht's pitch. Though the sprinkler was withdrawn as normal during matches, the impact shattered Sainsbury's kneecap and he sat out the season, with PEC swiftly moving him on to Chinese side Jiangsu Suning. However, Sainsbury seemed to have hit the jackpot when Jiangsu loaned him to their sister club, Inter Milan, only to be cast aside after a single match for the Nerazzurri. Failing to make the grade in Italy and on a subsequent loan to Swiss club Grasshoppers meant that in 2017, Sainsbury played for Australia more times than he appeared at club level, with 12 international caps compared to just 6 in domestic play. Defender, Mapu Yonga Mbiwa. Now a laughingstock, Mapu Yonga Mbiwa was once a rising star with Montpellier. The Frenchman entered their academy at 16 and helped them win promotion to Ligue 1. He would miss just 8 games in 3 years in the top flight, and in 2011-12 became a champion, helping Montpellier maintain the tightest defence in the division and attracting Newcastle's interest. The Magpies paid £8.5 million for the centre-back, which at the time seemed a bargain, as Yonga Mbiwa received his first caps for France. But Newcastle took only around 1.3 points a game with him on the field, finishing 16th and 10th in his time there. Roma inexplicably decided that the defender could help them challenge for a title and paid £6.5 million to take him to Italy before cutting their losses after a single year and flogging him on to Lyon. After spending the first 2 seasons back in France as a regular, the 29-year-old has made just 2 Ligue 1 appearances since April 2017, and the 2017-18 campaign proved to be Lyon's best in 10 years, racking up more points than they had in a single season since they won the league back in 2007-8. We doubt they'd have managed it if they were starting Yonga Mbiwa. Defender, Alberto Moreno. Despite spending an incredible £235 million since the start of 2018, Liverpool's squad is still riddled with holes. Left-back Andrew Robertson proved himself a steal last season, establishing himself in the team in January and helping them to the Champions League final. But if the Scot should get injured, Klopp would have to turn to Alberto Moreno, who is now in his 5th season at Anfield. Moreno was a £12 million signing from Sevilla in 2014 and was meant to help Brendan Rodgers build on his second-place finish with the Reds the year before. However, he quickly became known for sloppy positioning, and his time in England has been strewn with humiliations. In 2016, The Telegraph named his performance in the Europa League final as the 2nd worst final display ever, and the following year he managed to lose his place to midfielder James Milner. Though there have been rumours of interest from the Milan clubs and Napoli, Moreno remains a Liverpool player until next summer, when he can finally leave the side on a free transfer. Right midfield, Nacer Chadli. After a dreadful 2017-18 with West Bromwich Albion, you may not even know where Nacer Chadli is spending this season. Remarkably, the Belgian is now at Monaco, following a strong World Cup in which he reached the semi-finals, admittedly as a makeshift wing-back in Roberto Martinez's inexplicable system. Even that call-up was a shock, as Chadli didn't start a single game for the Baggies after October 2017, and ultimately played just 216 minutes for the club as they were relegated to the Championship. Though he notched a goal in that time, he failed to displace James McLean and even played around a quarter of the minutes that Hal Robson-Kanu did, making him an interesting choice to replace Keita Balde-Diao at the Stade Louis II. To make matters worse, the club handed the wide man a 3-year contract which will take him up to the age of 32, and they're giving minutes to the veteran while sending promising youngsters like Gil Diaz out on loan to the Championship. It's a lot of faith to place in a player who's contributed to just 11 goals in the last 2 years at club level. Central midfield, Nabil Bentaleb. Cast your minds back to 2014-15, Mauricio Pochettino's first season at Spurs, and the Argentinian's midfield general was 20-year-old Nabil Bentaleb. The Algerian was expected to become a star at White Hart Lane after that breakout year, but following a disappointing second season where he made just 5 league appearances, the youngster moved to Schalke on loan, with the Königsblauen paying 19 million euros for him in 2017. However, while he missed only 2 league games in his first year in Germany, the following season he played under half the available matches. Injuries were an issue, but the club hierarchy clashed with the midfielder too, with sporting director Christian Heidel telling press, "He's not a bad person, but he's over-ambitious. Everything's bad when he's not playing." And on the field, output has clearly declined. Bentaleb has gone from committing 1 foul a game to committing 2, a huge rise, and strange given that he makes fewer tackles and interceptions. He's also become less press resistant, with 1.5 successful dribbles a game sliding to under 0.5. This suggests that he's lost some mobility, or perhaps some work rate, and is a serious problem, with Schalke losing Goretzka and Max Meyer on frees in 2018. If he isn't careful, the 23-year-old could find himself slipping out of European competition altogether. Central midfield, Marko Marin. As much as we wanted to put Grzegorz Krychowiak in another 11, we had to include Marko Marin in our midfield. The German, who previously appeared in the Champions League with Werder Bremen, is now 29 and is on the 9th club of his senior career, plying his trade with Red Star in the Serbian Superliga. Marin, once hailed as the German answer to Messi, has played in 8 different countries, and since leaving Bremen in 2012, he's only spent more than 1 season at one of his 7 clubs during a spell with Olympiacos. Despite never being in the right place at the right time on the pitch, never reaching 10 goals in all competitions in a single campaign, Marin somehow has managed to win the Europa League twice, with Chelsea in 2013 and Sevilla the following year, also picking up a title in Greece and 16 caps for Germany. Of Serbian heritage, perhaps Marin will finally be able to settle in Belgrade, but given his track record, we doubt it. Left midfield, Denis Cheryshev. One of the stars of the 2018 World Cup, Denis Cheryshev scored 5 international goals for Russia in 9 games in 2018. That's an impressive tally by anyone's standards, but it's all the more surprising given that it equals the number Cheryshev has scored in league play since 2015 and exceeds his best total in a single season at the top level. Now 27, Cheryshev's previous record in La Liga was 4, and since moving up from Real Madrid's B team in 2013, he's played over 20 league games just twice. As a result, he has only 110 top-flight appearances to his name, that's just 7 more than 20-year-old Christian Pulisic, but despite his lack of output and regular game time, he continues to be a rotation option for Spain's best clubs, appearing for Real, Sevilla, Villarreal and Valencia, with whom he is spending the 2018-19 campaign on loan. Strangely, it's the Yellow Submarine who've let him go to Los Che, and when you're a Champions League side borrowing players from a Europa League outfit, you know something has gone wrong somewhere. With Valencia boasting a squad full of talented youngsters, we predict that Cheryshev will finally drop down to mid-table obscurity in 2019. Attacking midfield, Younès Belhanda. Once a teammate of Mapu Yonga Mbiwa at Montpellier, Younès Belhanda caught the eye as a 21-year-old with La Payade. During their title-winning season, he scored 12 and assisted 5 in 26 starts, made Ligue 1's Team of the Year alongside Hazard and Lloris, and was Young Player of the Year over Hazard and Aubameyang. That saw Man United and Tottenham take an interest, and the Moroccan was reportedly offered to Arsenal for around £10 million at the time. However, nothing came to fruition, and after it became clear that a Premier League switch wasn't on the cards, Belhanda unexpectedly signed for Dynamo Kiev. He won another 2 titles in Ukraine, but was clearly unhappy, repeatedly naming Arsenal as his favourite club in the press in the hope of rustling up a dream move. It wasn't to be. Belhanda has since slid down the European pyramid and is currently at his 4th club in 3 years, having spent time with Schalke, Nice and now Galatasaray. Though he finally featured in the World Cup in 2018, he's unlikely ever to appear in the English top flight. Forward, Fernando Llorente. Back in 2012, Fernando Llorente was one of the most in-demand forwards in Europe. The Spaniard had scored 101 goals in the previous 5 seasons with Athletic Club de Bilbao, a club he joined as an 11-year-old, and was coming off a campaign in which he notched 29 in all competitions, including 2 in a 5-3 aggregate demolition of Fergie's Man United in the Europa League. He eventually went to Juventus, where he added 3 titles to the World Cup and European Championship he won with the Spanish national team, but he was clearly a second-string forward, standing in for Carlos Tevez and Paulo Dybala, and after turning 30 in 2015, he ended up in the lower reaches of the Prem with Swansea. In a struggling team, Llorente's target man style made sense, and he got 15 in 33. But for some reason, Tottenham decided to pay £12 million for his services. In just over a season with the Lily-Whites, Llorente has scored just 1 league goal, started a single match in the Prem, and has played a grand total of 236 minutes for the club in English football. For all the bad press Moussa Sissoko gets, it's pretty clear that Llorente was actually the more foolish signing. Forward, Eder. Chances are the only thing you remember about Eder is his winning goal in the Euro 2016 final. The lanky forward played just 54 minutes during the tournament, but still managed to bring Portugal their first ever international trophy with his 4th goal for his country, a tally which has since grown to 5 in 34 caps. World class. Now 30, Eder has played in Portugal, the Premier League, Ligue 1 and the Russian Premier League, where he now turns out for Lokomotiv Moscow. However, he's only got into double figures in domestic play twice, with his best tally in a single campaign 16 in all competitions during a 3-year stint with Braga. On the other hand, he's registered under 5 league strikes on 7 occasions, including in a single year with Swansea where he bagged 0 in 13 games. Hardly the type of form you want to see in a backup to Cristiano Ronaldo as number 9 for the Seleção. At the time of writing, Eder's record of 79 career goals puts him level with Sergio Ramos, and, thankfully, Portugal seem to have noticed his shortcomings, handing him just 2 appearances in the last 2 years. So I hope you enjoyed that video, and if you'd like to see more great Football Daily content, then click here and obviously follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Don't bother with the others, don't need them. We'll see you next time.